¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador,
¿A dónde vas?
a Chicago.
¿Dónde vienes?
Ecuador,
¿A dónde vas?
Chicago,
¿Dónde vienes?
Colombia,
¿A dónde vas?
Atlanta.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Atlanta, Georgia becoming the next hotspot for illegal aliens, asylum seekers, migrants, immigrants from the southern border, whatever you want to call them. They are starting to flock to Atlanta. Now, this is not really surprising, I suppose, but it just goes to show that nowhere is safe. We've seen a lot of other cities have the same problem. New York City is inundated with illegal aliens, asylum seekers, or whatever. 110,000 of them in a very short period of time, in about 1 year, 9 months to a year. They're overwhelmed. They're wanting billions of dollars to deal with the issue. Their hotels and shelters and everything are pretty much at capacity and beyond. They're in the streets sleeping. Same thing happening in Chicago. Same thing happening all over the country. Now, obviously, Texas is like the epicenter of the crisis because they are going right there to the border and pretty much just hanging out. You saw at the very beginning, my man was going around asking them, ¿Dónde eres? ¿Dónde vas? Where you going? Where you coming from? Oh, we going to New York. In the full video, which I'll play in the box, in the full video, I would say 8 out of the 10 migrants that were right there said they were going to New York. And that's going to be an everyday occurrence, a new batch of individuals, mostly men. In the video I showed, it was all men between the ages of, I would say, 25 and 35, like war age men, no women, no children, all men. But they're asylum seekers. What are they seeking asylum from? Poverty, trying to get some money, send it back to their country of origin to send for their wife and their kids and their grandmas and everybody else. Now, before I go any further into it, let's watch this clip about the migrant situation that's coming to Atlanta, Georgia. If you want to see this in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
At 5, Atlanta's mayor is preparing for migrants from the southern border to come to Atlanta.
Mayor Andre Dickens asked for, and the city council has approved, nearly $7 million for shelter in area hotels, food, and other necessities. Fox 5's Morse Diggs joins us live in Northeast Atlanta with all the details. Morse.
The nation's mayors, they meet twice a year and they talk in between. Andre Dickens knows all about the pressures on New York City from this migration, and he wants to make sure nothing like that happens here.
You know, the best way to go about that would be to close the southern border. Just close the border up so then there's no problems. I mean, that's a novel idea, but it might just work.
Almost nightly, when the numbers run high, the influx of migrants shown on your TV screens. It was a Texas governor, frustrated with the Democratic administration in Washington, who was first to try to change the equation and send thousands to northern cities.
Now, I want to pause right there. The blame is constantly put on Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, saying, oh, he's frustrated with the Democrats and they're not doing anything. Well, look, if New York City, Chicago, Illinois, and other parts of the country say we are sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, then why wouldn't you want to accept these people? If you are flooded in New York City and Chicago with these people, well, what's going on with Texas? In these border towns, they don't have resources to be able to do all these people. So where are they going to go? The solution is to shut the border. There are some things they're doing in Texas to try to shut the border down, and they're being sued by the Biden administration. They put those water buoys for barriers in the Rio Grande, and they're getting sued by the Biden administration. So what will Texas do with all these people? You're a sanctuary state, city, you take them.
In New York, one of the landing spots, the bills and the population are piling up.
I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
I reject that notion to use language that this will destroy the fabric of America. America was built upon.
Now, this is Keisha Waits. She's a member of Atlanta City Council, just so you know who's speaking.
Were destroyed the fabric of America. America was built upon immigrant labor.
Atlanta Council.
I mean, we're talking about immigrants. Like, immigration is one thing. Legal immigration is one thing. What's happening right now at the southern border, that's not that. What we have right now is just an invasion of people. Now, some may like what's happening because she kind of hinted toward it, the labor. Okay, they're going to a lot of these cities and they're going to be working very low wage jobs, working maybe sometimes in the farms, working in hotels, restaurant industry, things of that nature. They're going to do those kind of jobs. So she's saying it's a good thing to have basically near slave labor. Is that what I'm hearing? Maybe I'm hearing the wrong thing.
Woman Keisha Waits and her colleagues supported Mayor Andre Dickens' initiative to fund at nearly $7 million a program to shelter migrants who make it to Atlanta.
I spent several years serving with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. I stand behind this mayor in terms of the decision to put this funding forward. At the end of the day, these are families. These are human beings.
The Atlanta cash secured with a federal grant will go to a half dozen organizations who will feed the individuals, put them in hotels, and meet other needs. The president decided to elevate some of the migrants who crossed over and give them a limited status.
Work permits, you allow people to then, they're seeking gainful employment. You're not going to be deported. You're sort of part of this economy in the United States and in the state of Georgia at this point. But it doesn't bestow on you citizenship rights, right? You can't vote.
So if you have family members who have arrived in Georgia or are headed here, check out our website this evening. We will put the full.
Okay, we don't need to have all that. We're not trying to promote people coming to Atlanta, Georgia, or anywhere else in the nation if they're not going to be doing it the way that they should be doing it. But that's what's happening right now with ATL. That's not a lot of money, $7 million. Like I said, in New York City, they want billions to deal with the issue. And I think Atlanta won't have as many illegal aliens, migrants, asylum seekers as New York City has. But still, they're coming. They're most certainly going to be there. And what I heard from this clip, it was a lot of talk about labor. Kind of like slave labor right now. Here's my question. There was a little thing during slavery called a 3/5 compromise. Have you ever heard of that? Well, let me explain if you've not heard of it, you're not familiar with it. The 3/5 compromise was a way to count slaves for representation in Congress. So we're talking about House reps. The number of House reps a state has is dependent upon the population. So if you're able to count a slave as one whole person, then that's going to give them an unfair advantage in representation. These slaves can't vote. They can't do anything. They're not even allowed to read. But yet they count toward representation in Congress. That's a way for people to buy power by buying human beings. I say all that to say this. All these legal aliens, you got 110,000 of them in New York City. Are they going to be counted as people? Are they going to be counted in the population? They can't vote. They're not going to have any rights. The next thing is they're going to want to be counted on the census. They're going to want to have rights. And then it's going to be compared to slavery, how slaves were not counted as full human beings and they didn't have rights. It's going to be the same thing. Obviously, it's not the same thing in reality because slaves are brought here involuntarily. They could not leave the plantation lest they be hung, jailed, and sent right back if they didn't die. The illegal aliens are coming here by force many times, paying big money, 5-10 grand to a coyote to get over here. But they're still going to be in the same boat. It's still going to be seen as some kind of civil rights movement. But as I close, I want to say this. Hopefully these illegal aliens, asylum seekers or whatever, do not come down south in the more conservative areas. Atlanta is kind of an anomaly. Georgia is a red state, but Atlanta is a blue city. Atlanta is Atlanta, but Georgia is Georgia. Once you leave Atlanta, like once you get beyond the 285 perimeter and go outside, you're no longer in Atlantaville anymore. You are in Georgia. It's night and day difference. And hopefully this issue does not creep out into the greater Georgia area. Okay, don't go beyond 285. Don't go up 75, down 75, 85. Just stay really back in your own country. But if you're going to be in ATL, stay in a small pocket. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think the migrant crisis is going to hit Atlanta, Georgia? Has it already gotten there? Have you seen the migrants in Hartsfield-Jackson Airport? They're pretty obvious a lot of times. A lot of times they, they're kind of all huddled together, ain't speaking too much English. Whatever your thoughts are on what's happening in Georgia, specifically Atlanta with the migrant crisis, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is obviously a bad thing for the entire nation, but some see it as a good thing because they see the dollar signs. They see these people as cheap labor, almost slave labor, and the lady said it, the country was built on this labor, so hey, we outlaw slavery. We thought that was a bad thing. It was a morally abhorrent thing to do, but rather than bringing that back, because we all agree that was bad, we're going to bring back a form of it with voluntary people. Why not? You want to come to America? Okay, cool. Now let's make you pick strawberries for $5 an hour. Why not? But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.